Equality, equal rights, protecting human rights is an American value. So in a greater context, I proudly represent Michigan's 13th congressional district, which includes the great city of Detroit. And my community, Detroit, which is a 78% African American community, knows what it is to fight for rights, fight for voting rights, fight against discrimination, racial discrimination, fight against systemic and institutional racism, decades, centuries of discrimination, and how that has affected the right to vote, right to obtain housing, right to obtain employment, whether it is financial, bank loans. There's a systemic discrimination my community has experienced for decades, and I'm fighting for the African American community in my district. I also grew up in India, as you know. My mother raised me as a Hindu. The values my mother gave me have lasted me a lifetime. Values that are ingrained in the Hindu philosophy, in the Sanatana Dharma, in the teachings of Hinduism. And that is how my mother raised me in a small town, growing it in poverty. But what helped me grow out of that adverse situation is the value system that I got from my mother. And today I am seeing in the United States a substantial increase of attacks on Hinduism. A lot of misinformation being circulated, whether it is online or otherwise. And having practiced Hinduism, having grown as a Hindu in a Hindu household, I know what Hinduism is. It is a very peaceful religion. It is people who practice their religion in a peaceful manner, in a compassionate manner, and a caring manner. It is not a religion that attacks others. It is not a religion that is aggressive against others. It is a very inclusive religion. It is a very inclusive community. However, this community continues to be misrepresented, misunderstood, sometimes deliberately so. And so I recently joined 4 of my Indian American colleagues to write to the Department of Justice. One of the concerns that we had was that the rising attacks on places of worship. We've seen those happening California, we have seen those happening all the way in New York and all across America. It appears to be a very coordinated effort to attack these places of worship, which has created a lot of fear in the community. And often what we have seen is that the law enforcement, the local law enforcement enters into these investigations, and rarely any suspects have been identified, and that investigation goes nowhere. And what that does is that it leaves the community feeling like nobody cares about them, nobody reports back to them on what's going on. And that means that the community continues to live in fear. The community continues to live in an adverse situation with essentially no help from law enforcement. And what we are asking Department of Justice is that we need coordinated efforts between the local law enforcement and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice, and a higher priority needs to be assigned to such hate crimes against this peaceful community. And that is what we have asked the Justice Department to do. And it is time for the whole community to come together and make sure that we demand equality, that we demand justice, and that we will not tolerate such hate against Hinduism. We will not tolerate the Hinduphobia that we have experienced. And that is what we are here to say. That is what I'm here to say. And as the 5th Indian American congressperson, a person that deeply values Hindu philosophy, Hindu religion, Hindu ideas, I am here to lend my voice, I am here to lend my support to the Hindu community to ensure that they too have a right and an ability to live without any kind of discrimination, without any kind of hate, that they have the ability to practice their religion, their values, without such hate and without such attacks. So that's what I'm here to. I have introduced the resolution into the United States Congress, and through the resolution and the letter that we wrote to the Department of Justice, we continue to put pressure on this administration to ensure that the Hindu community has the rights and has a right to live in peace and be able to live without the fear and without the attacks and without the hate that we have experienced. And we've experienced substantially more events of this kind in recent months. And I have a feeling that this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning of a very coordinated attempt against this community, and the community must stand together. The time has come, and I will stand with you. Thank you. I do have to leave in a few minutes, but I will be happy to take any questions if you have.
So I would open the question and answer first for the media and then for the general audience. So anybody from the media who would like to ask a question, please.
Congressman, thank you for your speech. Have you received a response from DOJ on the letter? And you said that this is just the beginning. Why do you think so? Who are behind these kinds of attacks?
Well, we have given the Department of Justice end of this week. So we have not heard from them. We expect to hear from them. And we'll continue to put pressure on Department of Justice. Again, I will not want to speculate who may or may not be behind these attacks. That is the job of the FBI, and that's the job of the local authorities, and that's the job of Department of Justice. And all we are asking is that they coordinate their efforts, put a high priority on this, and provide us the answers.
There's a frustration within the community that no action has been taken against these people who are responsible for this. Why do you think the FBI and other law enforcement agencies are not being able to take any actions against these crimes?
And that's what we're trying to find out, and that's why we asked for a meeting. And why is this issue not as high a priority? And it is important for the community to stand and fight and express our opinions. And perhaps that is what we're doing here, is that we're coming together and asking for this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. My next question is, how confident are you in terms of getting the support from your fellow colleagues within Congress, be it Democrats, Republicans, or even independents?
Well, look, this is American values. equality is American value, racial justice is American value, ability for a person to worship the God he or she wants to worship is American values. Ability to love a person that a person wants to love and live, have a relationship with, these are American values. And every American, this is not a Hindu issue, this is not an Indian American issue. This is an issue about fairness and equality, and this is an American issue. And I expect every colleague of mine across the aisle to join me in these efforts.
Congressman, quick question. So what would you say to those who say there is no Hinduphobia, there is no Hinduphobia? You've seen conversations around that too. What would be your message to those who deny the existence of Hinduphobia?
Well, there are dozens of instances, I will be able to help you with, as many of the Hindu organizations will give you dozens of listings. So, there are hate against Sikhs who wear the turbans in schools. So there is hate against children of Indian origin. There is, we have pictures and videos of graffiti and destroying of Hindu places of worship. There is, we have an embassy, Indian embassy being burnt, or attempted to be burnt in California. So what more proof do you need? There are plenty of instances, and those who still close their eyes and not able to see that will be happy to give dozens of incidences that have happened recently and in the past.
Any work? Yes. Please state your name and.
Thank you for doing this. My name is Dr. Satyamurthy. I'm a pathologist from Maryland, and I was lucky enough to be able to attend this. I have two daughters, one is in high school, the other one is working in Boston. She lives alone. My question for you is, how can we bring the awareness to our children, especially the Hindu children, to know about the values that we practice every single day, that we are a peaceful and contributory community here. We are leaders in the society. How to educate our children to be able to defend themselves when they are faced with not actual violence, but also microaggression and milder forms of violence.
Thank you for that question. And the Hindu American community, like many immigrant communities, have contributed substantially to the success. We are a nation of immigrants, and many of the immigrants who have come here, they have excelled in the field of education and business and medicine and healthcare and multiple different areas. And the contribution of the immigrants is immense. At the same time, people of all religions and faith and race must be able to live together and live together in peace. Our children must not feel fear or being ridiculed or discriminated or bullied in their schools, and we need to raise awareness about our rights and our rights to fight for our freedom and practice the religion, practice our faith. So it is so very important that that we instill in our children that sense that this is not acceptable. Any kind of discrimination, hate is not something we can be silent about. We are not going to accept this anymore in silence, because our silence means that we are part of this system that is against us. So we just need to continue to fight, continue to raise our voices, and I'll stand with you.
Do you have follow-up?
Yeah.
Quick,
Just
short
one
question.
comment. It's just a follow-up comment. Can we increase the education that's provided, regarding this topic? Bring more awareness to our children and bring it in the school curriculum. That was basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything from the critical race theory to about Hinduism, there is an attempt to not talk about some issues in the schools. There's issues of banning books and not teaching our children about the history or about religions or giving them wrong information. Some of the curriculum that I've seen has references about Hinduism, for example, that are downright wrong and biased, right? And so when either we do not educate our children the right things, or we keep banned books, or we keep them from getting the knowledge, the information they need, the African American community has suffered the same way, like the Tulsa massacre. So few of the children know about it. People don't know about the past, and it is deliberately kept away from our school curriculum, and or misinformation has been fed, and we need to fight that, because that's where if we don't teach our children about the mistakes that have been done historically in the past, then there is a likelihood of those mistakes being repeated. And therefore, that is the reason why our curriculum needs to be, our teachers need to be able to freely teach the truth, as opposed to be shut down by people afraid to talk about the truth of the past.
Congressman, my name is Mukund Kutel. I come from Philadelphia, representing the Hindu community from Greater Philadelphia region. A lot of security grants have been provided to Hindu temples or all the places of worship, and many lawmakers feel that that's good enough. And but you have raised a very important point, that we don't get any feedback from the law enforcement agencies about any chatter, any concern, any heightened discussion happening behind the scene as an intelligence input to strengthen our securities at Hindu temples during certain festivals. Is there an opportunity, or are you going to also seek some additional grants for interfaith dialogue? Many Hindu temples are not equipped to participate, and they are not included in many interfaith panels across the country. So the interfaith dialogue, if that happens, and if there are some funds available through federal government, like the security grants, that would be wonderful, and then a lot of temples can add to use those grants to increase the mutual awareness about the Hindu values that you have.
A good point, Mukundji, and thank you for all the work that you've done in Philadelphia. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I proudly serve on the Homeland Security Committee. As you know, I came as a student here when I was 24 years old, and my student visa was denied 4 times before it got finally approved. And so I know firsthand the broken immigration system, and so I'm delighted to work on fixing our broken immigration system, working through Homeland Security. But one of the good things that has come out of the Homeland Security is those security grants for places of worship. We've seen not only attacks on Hindu places of worship, we've seen attacks on synagogues. And we recently, we've been encouraging places of worship to take advantage of the federal program, to get the grants. So you can reach out to my office, thanedar.house.gov, if you need help in securing those funds. But every religious or institute, every place of worship should take advantage of that. In fact, at the synagogue in Detroit, we were able to get grants, not only to put very sophisticated security systems, but they're also able to get grants to put security guards when they have events happening that are of particularly of concerning. So we just approved. They just got a grant of $150,000 that they can put security guards in there, in addition to a very sophisticated camera system and security system. And so every place of worship should try to reach out and try to get this. It's important that we safeguard our institutions. At the same time, I want the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the local authorities to put high priorities on this.
Thank you, Shriji, for introducing this important resolution, HR 1131. My name is Geeta Sikkan, and I'm Director of Communications for Americans for Hindus. And my question is that how do we work with the mainstream media that has, one, refused to engage with Hindus regarding Hinduphobia concerns, two, distinctly inhospitable to the airing of criticisms of its anti-Hindu hate articles, and finally, a deafening silence on the fact that nothing is written about Hindus by authentic Hindu scholars. Could you address that, please?
I understand. And again, there is clearly a bias in the media that we see, a lot of misinformation, a lot of bias. And unfortunately, the people who are deliberating, spreading those rumors and misinformation are working harder than those that need to correct it. So I think what this tells us is that we as a community need to be more vocal. We need to be through op-eds, through events. I was recently in California where the Jewish organization held a large rally with 10,000 people addressing anti-Semitism, for example. So really, it all depends on how much the community is willing to come together, how much the community is going to stand together to fight this. If we see that this is not my problem, I'm just going to live my life and not worry about it, then not much is going to happen. So we all need to understand that we owe certain thing to our community. We owe it to our community to be able to, that we have goals. We have to raise, everybody is concerned about their own job, their own career, raising their family. All of those are important things, but we also owe something to our community. And one of the reasons why I decided to, give up my very lucrative business and enter into politics is because I felt I have an obligation to give back to this country that gave me so much. And we all need to have that civic responsibility, and all of us have that obligation to accomplish that. So that is what I would urge the community. I can't do it alone here. We need the community to be together and engaged and active and be passionate about protecting these rights.
Congressman,
Yes.
You mentioned in the resolution a paragraph about Dr. King. Can you explain your thoughts on that? And also, many of the attacks on Hindu houses of worship and against Hindu persons in the U.S. are oftentimes linked to geopolitical events outside of the borders of the United States of America. Can you explain how this resolution can be better used to coordinate also with the U.S. State Department to track threats against the community emanating outside of the United States, but that will penetrate into the U.S.?
Absolutely, and again, I want to acknowledge Jay here and his help. He has been amazingly helpful to me in drafting this resolution, and he's been very helpful to me in coordinating, organizing some of these issues. So yes, we need to continue to, Dr. Martin Luther King is my hero. He is somebody that I have tremendous respect, and how he fought for freedom and how he fought for racial justice, and how his ideas, his dream is what guides me in every day in how I do my job. And he said about injustice to anyone is injustice to all of us. And he also talked about don't judge me by the color of my skin, judge me by my character. And these are, the teachings. And he was very influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi's teaching and his principles were a guiding force for Dr. King. And so these two communities go a long way. And that is the link between the African American community and the Indian American community, and how Dr. King spoke so highly of his mentor or his somebody that he respected. So we need to again continue to raise awareness, continue to not, and if we take the leadership and if we come together, the more of us come together is our strength, and only that strength is going to help us get justice. Only that strength of us being together. This community has not been politically active in the past, have not been, been very vocal about the discrimination, and I'm starting to see an awakening among the community. But this has to happen on a much grander scale for us to be able to demand fairness and able to demand justice for the community. So I'm really encouraged by the community coming together. Many organizations are here today representing the Hindu community, and we need to just continue to do that. And we need to continue to do that in a much larger scale.
Congressperson, I am Priya Shah, a participated Hindu from Bangladesh, living in Washington DC area. So my question is, as America is upholding not only the American human rights, they are working for across the world to uphold all people human rights. And in Bangladesh and Pakistan, during the partition, our population was 30% Hindu in Bangladesh. Now it's come down less than 8%. And at the same in the Pakistan, it was 25%. Now it's come down around 2%. So is there any way to ask this government, the Bangladesh government, why is there Hindu people, what they're doing, and what's their next plan to keep this percentage what they have and make a situation where this community can grow, survive better way and can grow, and how they are planning to protect the religion minority community, the indigenous people, the Christian and Buddhist, the Hindu community in Bangladesh and Pakistan and Afghanistan, as I know are better than me. So this is my humble question as a congressperson, how you can help our community in Bangladesh to survive and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you for your concern. And we've all heard about the atrocities against Hindus, not only in Bangladesh, but we've also seen atrocities happening in Pakistan. And especially young girls, women, and the hardship and the struggles and the attacks that have happened on them. And we need to raise a voice for human rights across the world. America has been the largest, strongest, most important democracy in the world, has a moral obligation to demand human rights and practice of human rights across the world. That is what our values are as Americans. And not only we need to demand equality, not only we need to demand protecting our rights here in the United States, but as a country, we have the moral and the leader of the world, leader of the free world. We have an obligation to ensure human rights are practiced all across the world. And when we see such atrocities, when we see such a blatant disregard to the human rights, we need to raise our voice. And so Bangladesh and the problems that are happening there are certainly need to be brought to the attention of the State Department, and we'll continue to do and speak for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Congressman Shri Thanedar sir. I'm Ashok Badi. I'm joined here with my good friend Hari. First of all, congratulations for introducing the Hindu Resolution 1131. And we feel proud that we come from the state that you belong to, and we feel proud that you are the first congressman from the state of Michigan of Indian origin, first congressman of Indian origin from the state of Michigan. So thank you again for all the work that you do, and we want you to be there for a very long time and continue to serve us. Having said that, the question is, well, we have introduced this resolution in its past. What are the next steps, and what can we as Hindu Americans do to help further the cause? What is the next logical step?
Yeah, Ashokji and Hariji, you both of you have, we work together a lot. I appreciate your passion and what you have done in the state of Michigan. One thing is that talk to your Congress member or your talk to your senators to make sure that they support this resolution, they sign on to it as co-sponsors. That's something that you could do. And, we just need to continue to raise awareness in the United States Congress about this. But I do appreciate the Michigan community, my hometown, and I'm just proud to be the first Indian American from the state of Michigan in the United States Congress, and I'll continue to work with all of you. Thank you. Maybe you can take one or two more and then, yeah.
Sweetie, hi. Well, it's nice working with you in the past, and hope to be working with you. One question, a lot of universities, like a teacher, professor, or a guru that we kind of respect and believe them, if they are taking stands against Hinduism, calling dismantle Hinduism and all this other stuff. There are a lot of Indian students who are no longer want to identify themselves as Hindus, because those are the professors who would grade them, those are the ones who would give them recommendation letters, so now they are afraid to even identify themselves as Hindus. How can the Congress or the government help colleges, universities be secular and not just claim secular and be anti-Hindu?
Good, very good point. And Hariji, we have also seen that happening against Jewish students in universities. We have seen this clear bias among many of the academicians. And we've seen that bias against Jewish people, that we've seen that bias against Hindu people. And sometimes them coming from Ivy League schools and bigger universities, they get a bigger voice and they get more noticed. And our job is to call them out when they're spreading misinformation, give them the facts and give them the truth. We need to really talk and tell them the truth about what is actually happening. And we need to fight that propaganda, that bias, that hate that we see not only in general public, but we also see that so deep-rooted in academia. And the best thing to do is be united and speak about and be vocal and be passionate. And we need to go on the university campuses and organize protest when misinformation has been spread about the Hindu community. All right.
Is there any more questions anybody would like to ask?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We have two presentations to be given. First, I would invite Vijay Sazavuti to, he has a book, and then I will.
I am Vijay Azal.
Yeah.
I've met you, sir, before. Let me just
Can you come
20
in
second background.
Want to just come in the center?
Please come to the center, please.
Nearly over 100 years back, a Spanish-American philosopher, Jorge Saldana, said, "Those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it." And we have essentially a situation of Hindus as a minority in the largest democracy. Here we go. We have Hindus as a minority in one region, back in the largest democracy in the world. And they did face things that we have not seen yet, and hopefully we'll never see here. And this book is actually a record of what happened to a Hindu minority in the largest democracy in the world. So things can go bad if we think that democracies protect everybody. You have to work hard to do that. And Congressman, it's my pleasure to give you this book, and let me read you what I've said in the front for you, sir. I'm saying to Dr. Shri Thanedar for his outstanding work for the Hindus of our beloved country, the USA. Thank you, sir, and accept this book as a small token of gratitude.
Sure. One more book presentation.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Satyanarayana. I am a chair of pathology at the Northwest Hospital in Bramblestown, Melbourne. I'm also a volunteer for heartfulness meditation. So as we talk about world peace, and coexistence with interfaith and multiple different faiths, how can we talk about world peace when we don't have individual peace, right? So as a mission in our organization, we want to bring awareness to bring individual peace and thereby bringing world peace. So acceptance, tolerance, awareness of how to get there. So the most recent book, Spiritual Anatomy, by my guide, Dr. Kamlesh Patel, I would like to present that for you. And he talks about the way to spirituality regardless of your faith or religion. And if we are able to respect each other as we want to be respected individually, everybody can arrive at that world peace.
Yes.
So I appreciate all your hard work, and we as a community, we will support you, and we would like to be involved, so please reach out wherever you need us.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
So we have some lunch for people. Please feel free to have questions, have some food, and people from the media, if you would like to have some bites with Congressman, next 5 minutes would be good. I know he has to leave, so.
I can't.